Hi friends, welcome back to Playing Tribute to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, where today we are going to get into the trial, get into the court, and fight against our best friend Kazuma to defend our previous opponent, Lord Van Zeeks, who despises us. But he has put his fate in our hands, albeit a bit begrudgingly. I don't know. He was very nice about it though last time. I think that we're slowly breaking his shell, I guess. But here we are. There's that old familiar feeling again. The crushing pressure of this historic courthouse. Actually, no. It's a little different today. There's an even more menacing tension in the air. There's menacing tension in the air today, isn't there? I suppose... Yes, I think so. Oh, sorry. I think she was just saying, I suppose. There's a menacing tension, I suppose. It can only be the result of the menacing appearance of the defendant. Courtesy, please. Oh my, I do apologize. However, you're certainly not mistaken that this trial is far from ordinary. What do you mean? I'm not privy to the details. However, I understand that no jury has been selected. What? A trial without a jury? Well, that's just like the trial of the professor 10 years ago. Closed court. Good morning, my dear fellows. Mr. Sholmes. Have you made note of my hair, Mr. Naruto? An outright victory for science, you must agree. To be perfectly honest, so much happened yesterday that, well, I completely forgot about your hair problem. Your little hair problem. Me too, actually. I was thinking so much about Kazuma and defending Van Zeeks. What to one man is a little hair problem is to another a day of drinking dubious potion after dubious potion. Just don't get yourself sick, man. You have no idea how my stomach ails me this morning. Yeah. Oh dear, I'll offer for you. I'm afraid you only have yourself to blame, Mr. Sholmes. And good morning to you, Mr. Reaper. I'm delighted to see you looking so full of vim. And as a London celebrated your great detective, is as active as ever. Oh, you exaggerate, my dear fellow, compared to my paltry engagements with a few trivial cases. The Reaper's overbearing presence is far greater deterrent to the black roots of crime in our capital. And whilst I may not agree with your methods, there is at least one point to which I would readily commend you. What an honor. And that would be... your eye for a good lawyer, sir. Mr. Sholmes. After all, behind this lawyer there is a very great man. My own. What are you trying to say? I wish only to say that you should be prepared for quite a trial, Mr. Reaper. Are you implying that you're going to help me, Sholmes? Sorry to barge in. Did she always have that armband on? Or is that new? That looks new. Gina! Oh, is it? Oh! A mourning band. Okay. Sorry, I should have read that. What's that on her arm? It's a mourning band, I suppose. Father! Shouldn't you be at the symposium? It's been postponed, so I have some free time. I decided to come along with the police inspector to see our country's up-and-coming student in action. I shall be very interested to see the fruits of your studies over the past year. Well, it's an honor to have you here. Let's hope there are some fruits to see. I was also going to see Kazuma. Otto? Yes, Gina. Why'd you agree to this, eh? Why'd you take him on? This Reaper blow. Everyone says it was him who killed the boss. I'm sorry, Gina. I'm trying to look at her facial expression. But I just don't believe that. Well, if it weren't him, who was it? I don't know that yet. I don't care who calls him what. Reaver's just a name. He's just a person at the end of the day. And if it turns out it was him what killed the boss, then God help him. Fiery eyes indeed. Yes. The culprit deserves every ounce of your love. Eh? At least, some service to the deceased. Please, Otto. Get whoever did this. For the boss. Oh, Gina. I hate feeling this useless. But there's nothing I can do. So you gotta find who done this and make the wretch pay. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court will be in session shortly. Make your way into the courtroom at once, please. Alright then, here we go. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. Lord Van Zieks. When he lost his treasured brother to a mass murderer. When he lost his treasured father in a foreign court of law. And when he lost the man who helped her escape destitution. All that misfortune, all that pain, on course to collide headlong in this trial. It's time to shine a light on all these dark events. Whatever truth is revealed, we're going to have to look it straight in the eye. Is that supposed to be Sholmes talking or something? Why did it show Sholmes at the end? Pursuit of truth and investigation, I guess? I don't know. Ooh, it's quiet in here. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here to conduct the fair and just trial of the defendant, Beric Van Zieks. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready to begin? The defense is ready, my lord. Prosecution is more than ready. Oh, Kazuma-sama. Wishing to see you in court again for so long, it feels... But I never pictured it happening like this. I never thought I'd be facing you behind the prosecution's bench. The so-called Reaper of the Bailey has been scourged like no other, undermining Her Majesty's justice system. Today, we must uncover the truth behind the scourge. In other words, this trial is going to be a lot more far-reaching than Inspector Grayson's murder. The truths revealed by the proceedings may have predictable repercussions throughout the judiciary. Accordingly, they ought to be conducted in closed trial, no members of the public present. By Her Majesty's direct orders. So, yeah, no, I was wondering about that because Sholmes is all like, oh, yeah, no, I'll be there to watch. And Suzato's father was all like, oh, yeah, I want to see the fruits of your labors or whatever. It's like, I don't know whether you're allowed in here. How will that work, my lord? Yeah, without the jury, too. burden of all the arbitration and adjudication falls on my shoulders. Therefore, as you will see, the juror's bench shall remain vacant today. If no members of the public are present, might I ask who is currently occupying the gallery, my lord? Members of the judiciary, here to witness proceedings and ensure an equitable trial. Members of the judiciary. Oh my, this is a very unusual trial already. There is, of course, another unprecedented aspect to these proceedings, on which I must elaborate. The counsels for the prosecution and defense are both aliens of Great Britain. I believe it takes an outsider to see the truth sometimes. And as I stand here in this courtroom now, I'm quite certain. This is the reason why I had to come to Britain. Kazuma? Very well, let us commence proceedings. Prosecutor Asogi, your opening statement, if you please. Certainly, my lord. The incident took place on 1st November at just after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The location was a building of flats at Fresno Street in the outskirts of the city. The victim's body was discovered there in an old single-room rental property. Yes, Inspector Tobias Grayson. A name known very well indeed to this court. Not least for his miraculous resolution of one of this country's grimmest cases 10 years ago. The Professor case. How sure are you about the time of the incident? Several witnesses on the street outside heard the gunshot, and all have reported the same time. Yes, that's what Gina told us too. There were a number of witnesses. I have here a plan of the room. The victim was found curled up in one corner. It is believed that he was shot from the front at point-blank range and died instantly. How has this range been determined? There were scorch marks around the entry wound. Such marks are caused by the gunpowder used to fire the bullet. The powder hot enough to leave such marks is only ejected a few inches beyond the end of the barrel. In other words, it only happens when the target is at point-blank range. I see, yes. Thank you for the detailed explanation, Counsel. The murder weapon was found lying beside the victim. Wait, why doesn't it have the time of death? It doesn't have the time of death written on here. Is that a typo? What happened here? Close range from the front, resulting in instant death. Scorch marks, bullet exited the body from behind. Caliber of the gun matches standard issue firearms for members of the judiciary. Have you managed to ascertain the owner of this firearm? No, my lord. No, not conclusively. Bravo, Kazuma-sama. I'm not trying to use the gun as evidence when its provenance can't be proven. Furthermore, my lord, as I've explained, the revolver was fired at extremely close range. The bullet passed through the victim and struck the wall behind him. There's a candelabrum mounted on that wall, and the tip of one of the candles in it was found to have been blown off by the projectile. We noticed that too, didn't we? Yes, that's right. Thank you for a thorough report, Counsel. The setting of the crime is clear to me. We'll submit the plan to the crime scene as evidence, please. As you wish, my lord. Okay. Is this Fresno Street room Inspector Gregson's private abode? No, my lord. The room is rented to a Mr. Hugh Boone. But there's precious little furniture inside and is generally in a poor state of repair. So what on earth was Gregson even doing there? Presumably he was investigating some case or other. When a policeman was informed of the gunshot from the witnesses and rushed to the scene, he found only the deceased inspector and the accused standing alongside holding the revolver. The attending officer arrested the accused on the spot. So, the details of the case are clear. In that case, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. A name, please, counsel. Naturally, the accused himself. Lord Van Zeeks. As a prosecutor, he believes in the oath of the office he's taken, and will be compelled to tell the truth. Well, let the defendant take the witness stand. So, witness, state your name and occupation for the court. Baron Van Zeeks, Old Bailey prosecutor. I presume, Lord Van Zeeks, that you've heard Prosecutor Sogi's opening presses. I did. It is alleged that you were found at the scene of the crime, and that you were arrested by the arriving police officer. Can you confirm this? Yes, my lord. And I'm sure the court would like to hear you explain some things away. Namely, why you were there in the room when Press Street at the time in question. And what exactly took place. I intend to explain nothing, or simply tell the truth. I say, Lord Van Zeeks, I imagined the day would come. Or rather, I didn't want to imagine it would come. But since you've become known as the Reaper, that part of me has been dreading it. Your formal testimony, then, witness. I was investigating Chris, and my inquiries had led me to that address. When I first entered the room that day, it was dark inside, and I saw no one. A moment later, I heard the gunshots. I spun around and saw the revolver on the floor. Just as I picked up the firearm to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. That was very confusing. That testimony was the whole truth? It was. So, you heard a shot being fired in a room with no living occupants. And moments later, a corpse somehow appeared before your eyes. Is that it? You're right, you haven't explained away anything. In fact, that would barely qualify as an excuse. But you were my mute apprentice. But it turns out you have a way with words. Prosecutors. It would appear that to be a singular tale indeed. Singular isn't the word, it's laughable. What's got into Kazuma? He's not behaving like himself at all. Very well, then. Counsel, you may begin your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. Press everything. Get an understanding of what happened in this room. Why were you investigating Gregson?
Hold it!
You were investigating the inspector? What on earth for? I'm not at liberty to say. Sorry? I identified a distinct possibility that Gregson was involved in a case I was investigating. Regrettably, though, I was killed before I could secure the proof I needed. Is the court to understand, then, that on the day in question you followed the victim to the scene? No, I was privy to his movements in advance. How? I stole into his office at the yard and consulted his diary. The address on Fresno Street was noted on the 5 p.m. entry. You illegally entered a man's office. In Japan, that alone would constitute a very serious offense. As it does in Great Britain, I assure you. Is that not the case, Lord Van Zeeks? I was aware of the possible consequences. So, in summary, you were investigating the victim, and yet you refused to tell the court why. I didn't realize British prosecutors enjoyed such freedom. Had you ever been to the address before? No. Only learned of the police as a result of my investigations into Gregson's activities. There was no light inside of my enter, so it was almost impossible to make out anything. But at 5 p.m. the sun would only have just gone down. It would still have been reasonably light outside. The room has a window, but it was bolted shut. Very little light found its way into the room from outside, so it was extremely murky inside. I would have noticed the victim was already lying on the floor. There was no artificial light in the room, you say. You're quite sure? I'm quite sure. The part of the room where the body was found was very dark. What about the candles? It was just beside. I had a feeling there was a small oil lamp on the desk, though I couldn't say for certain. Look, Mr. Naharu. The candles had to be burning, because they're smaller than the other one. There's a small desk in the room just here. Yes, I remember. And there was an oil lamp on it, as well as the framed photograph. When I entered the room, I closed the door behind me and started toward the desk to investigate. And what did you find? Nothing. I've actually reached the desk. That's when I heard the gunshot.
Hold it!
So, who fired the gun? I have no idea. I didn't see anybody else in the room. But you say it was very dark in there. Yes, that's right. All I can tell you is I didn't sense another's presence. Then could it be that the gunshot actually originated from somewhere outside the room? No, that's out of the question. Oh. Without doubt, the sound emanated from inside the room. I could smell the gunpowder. It's going from bad to worse. And you say that's the point at which you noticed the revolver on the floor? Correct. I foolishly picked it up. It was carelessness on my part. Presumably, then, the gunshot you heard came from the firearm that you somewhat hastily took into your hands. In point of fact, I believe it not. Oh? What? The barrel of the revolver I picked up was cold, and there was no smell of spent powder. But then, where on earth is the gun that was fired? Well, sir, I'd like to oblige you with an answer. I'm afraid I can't. I too would dearly like to know that.
Hold it!
A man, you say? One of the witnesses, I presume? That's right. One of the street merchants working on Fresno Street. Who are these merchants? A number of them had set up their stalls directly beneath the boarded window of the crime scene. A match seller, a newsmonger, and a peddler. They've all given statements saying they heard the gunshot. And without thought of danger, they ran inside to see what had happened. Yes, Gina told us about that yesterday, didn't she? They burst through the door with some force, it would seem. They did. It almost gave me a heart attack in the process. But you're supposed to be the Reaper. The first man to come in immediately noticed the revolver in my hand and fled. A policeman patrolling on Fresno Street heard the commotion and was able to arrest the accused shortly after the incident occurred. Anyway, a scream drew my attention in that direction. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me.
Hold it!
What do you mean by that? In what way did the body appear? I honestly can't explain it, but it's the truth. As far as I was concerned, the body hadn't been there until that point. And then suddenly there it was. Did you perhaps hear the sound of the victim falling to the ground just beforehand? It was the sound of the door flying open, and the scream of the man who came inside first. Nothing more. Is it because of how the room is situated? Like, the door opens like this way. So when Van Zieks walked in, he would have opened the door and then walked toward the desk, heard the gunshot, swung around, picked up the revolver. So that would imply that the revolver was here, not here where it was eventually found. But like, the door was covering his body. Maybe that's the point that it's trying to make? Let's see. After the man fled, I examined the body. I was stunned to find that it was Gregson. It's curious circumstances indeed. The inspector was capable how his body seemed to appear out of nowhere. I've no idea.
Objection!
Surely the court has heard enough. My lord, the cross-examination has clearly revealed that the accused, Beric Van Zieks, is lying on multiple fronts. What is that supposed to mean? Good gracious, counsel. The defendant is lying, you say? In his testimony just now, he claims that he failed to notice the victim's body because the room was dark. That's correct. It's impossible. As proven by this candelabrum. How does that prove anything? If you examine the tip of the long handle, you can see it has been blown off by a powerful impact. One would assume that the projectile from the firearm passed from the victim and struck the candle. The problem comes when you consider the other two candles, which are clearly of different length. Yes, I can see that only the candle that appears to have been struck by the bullet is long. You could reasonably expect someone to have lit all three candles together, which begs the question of why only one has ended up longer than the others. That must be because that particular candle was extinguished when the others were still burning. Ah! That's right. When the candle was hit by the bullet, it obviously went out. Okay, so he's making the same argument that I was just making, but I mean, to what end? What's happening here? But the other two candles would still have to be burning. So the fact is, the victim's body would have been illuminated by the light still thrown by the candelabrum. And the accused claim that he couldn't see the body clearly contradicts those facts. And now to the next one. There's more. The accused also claims never to have visited the scene of the crime before. It's the truth. In that almost empty room, the police discovered something very unusual. A board covered from top to bottom with police documents and newspaper cuttings. Yes, that's right. We saw it too. It goes without saying that the contents of the police documents cannot be divulged. However, they include a number of reports from various historical cases, the oldest of which was from 10 years ago. 10 years ago. This is starting to sound familiar. And there's a common thread linking all of these documents in that board. Indeed, what is this common thread, Counsel? They all relate to cases prosecuted in court by Beric Van Zieks. All of them? And furthermore, all those cases are ones in which the defendant was acquitted. Good lord. Interestingly, none of these defendants are alive today, because all of them has been sent to their graves by the Reaper. Ah! Oh no. In short, the dingy little ring is the Reaper's secret hideout and his base of operations. The Reaper's hideout. Yet the Reaper would claim never to have been to his own secret hideout. No one would believe that. No, the truth is, we've been looking at this backwards. Backwards. Explain, Counsel. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. What? Oh, order. Very well, I hereby state the current opinion of the court. Beric Van Zieks is an outstanding prosecutor who has rendered great service to his country. However, it is with deep regret that I must concur with Prosecutor Sogi's contention that the defendant's testimony exhibits a number of stark inconsistencies with known facts. All I have done was state the truth as I know it. Cosima's done a brilliant job as ever. He's drawing on his experience as a defense attorney to build his prosecution case, and it's formidable. That is an interesting concept too, like a defense attorney turned prosecutor, like using knowledge of both sides of things. Counsel, you will submit to the board that you just showed the court this evidence. I believe it to be fundamental in accepting the facts surrounding the Reaper's existence. Thank you, my lord. There are details of a whole raft of cases dating back years on here, aren't there? This paper from 10 years ago is brown with age. Look. Out of interest, the most recent thing appears to be this newspaper cutting here. Oh, it's the same Red-Headed League advertisement that Mr. Sholmes had picked out. And do you remember, there was a red hairpiece in the scene, too? Is Inspector Gregson an exponent of the Red-Headed League, then? Is that a bloody handprint? Oh, what's this? Mr. Naruto, look! Yes, it's a smudge of some kind. In fact, it looks just like a handprint. And the color, it's blood, isn't it? Oh dear, how disturbing. And now the prosecution would like to call new witnesses to the stand. Witnesses who saw events unfold the day in question. They were mentioned in the previous testimony too, if you remember. Yes, the street sellers who heard the gunshot and went running into the room. Well, lead the witnesses in. The defendant may step down from the witness stand. Certainly, my lord. So, witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. What kind of voice? Names? We don't use names. Far too fancy for the likes of us. We're just free and easy. So what we like, live where we want to live. Hey, I remember him. I could give them all a vacant stares. They walk down Fresno's, spitting a few words in the verse for them. Would I be right in assuming that all three of you make your living by selling wares on the street? Everyone calls me Gossip. I sell jaunty little tidbits to passers-by, you know? Jaunty little tidbits. Got an absolute smasher for you, sir. Right up your dinner it is. 6 pence the price, not a penny less. Wait, you're actually trying to sell it to me now? Oh, come on, sir. Don't tell me you're not interested. Try the man. Give him the money and see what it is. Wait, Kazuma, why are you into this? Pay the man, Kazuma. What is the judgment? Alright. 6 pence it is. You won't regret it, sir. Now, got your listening ears on? Just between us, a young couple on Slate Street, I've just had twins. Is that it? No, that's not it. It's gossip, isn't it? It wants to spread, but that bit's up to you and your mouth, of course. I got more, you know. Want another juicy one? 6 pence a piece it is, if you're curious. I'm curious, yes, about what's going on just under that fat bottom lip of yours. Namely that unusual bruise or whatever that's poking out from under your collar. And what about the next witness then? What name do you go by and what do you sell? Me? I'm Venus. That's what everyone calls me. Funny, isn't it? I sell these lovely little fireworks to all the local school kids. 6 pence a pop. What do you say? You weren't exaggerating with little. Do they actually sell? Oh yeah. The second years can't get enough of my Venus firecrackers. Especially when I tell them that if they get 100, they could blow up a school. Wow. Not the most savory of ideas, young lady. What'd you say then, huh? Want to part with 6 pence for a pop? What? You want me to buy one? Tell you what, I'll let you in on a little secret. If you get 100 of them, you could blow up the whole courtroom. Try the woman. Give her the money and see if she's right. Pay the woman counsel. Alright, I'll buy one. I'll be stuffed right then. It's just something a bit extra just for you. The Venus Special. Only 600 pence. 600. It's 100 of my regular fireworks. Nothing little about that, is there? And there'd be nothing little about the punishment if I blew up the Old Bailey either. No good. I was hoping I'd get that as evidence because I have an idea. I have a thought. And the last witness. What name do you go by and what do you sell? They think of me. I think all sorts of thoughts. I think, therefore I am. I am, therefore I think. I think. Because I stand there on the streets, watching the world go on about me. They call me the Observer. Get out of it, old man. Everyone calls you the Sandwich and you know it. So you don't actually sell anything. A problem shared is a problem halved, as they say. I give advice, I do, and I think what it means. Don't actually sell anything. Come to think of it. Pity. No more purchases today, please. Well, we have quite a cast here, it seems. Alright, I was waiting for a good part to pause. Something like this. You had an idea, Mr. Naruto. You're staring at the end of the string of fireworks. Sorry, it's just the Venus Special. I was wondering what 600 pence worth of fireworks would sound like. Shall we find out? But she said it could blow up the courtroom. Alright, that was a fairly sizable bang. My ears are still ringing, Mr. Naruto. It sounded almost exactly like... Yep. Like a gunshot. What happened in that room? Man. They conduct their business on Fresno Street from morning until night. And always in the same place, directly adjacent to the crime scene. See, yes, they heard the gunshot, I suppose. Not only that, but they very bravely ran inside to see what was going on and witness the crime. Well, I figured that just between us. Venus de Milo, what am I to do? What a terrible thing I saw. What I think is, if what do we see is light and shadow, playing with our eyes. Is anything real? Very well. The court will hear the formal testimony of these 3 witnesses now. You will describe in detail what you witnessed and heard at the time of the incident. I have a thought about this guy right here. Just based on his hair and the absurdity of him. What is with that marking on his neck, though? My goodness. I saw the whole thing from start to finish. We did everything from the moment they went into the building. It was less than a minute after the Reaper had gone inside that we all heard a big bang. Seems to me that the quick talk is quick to walk. Gossip couldn't wait to go and see what happened. I ran into the room and there he was, Reaper, gun in hand, standing over the dead body. I was scared half to death of me, so I ran to find a copper. If these witnesses were there the whole day and saw everything, who did they see going inside the building? Only the victim, Inspector Gregson, and the accused, Barrick Van Zeeks. I've seen pictures of Reaper in the paper. I know what he looks like. And just between us, folk love these stories like this. I made myself a tidy sum already. But wait, the room was just one of several flats in the building. Someone from another flat could have done it. All those flats on Fresno Street are unoccupied. Of course they are. They're small, damp, dirty, and expensive to boot. The room in which the inspector was found is the only property in the building that's currently leased. And we know the leaseholder's name, don't we? It's Hugh Boone. Testimony the court has just heard would appear to have little room for doubt. It's becoming increasingly difficult to see how anyone other than the defendant could have committed this crime. No. Thank you for your candor. In counsel for the defense, you may proceed to cross-examine the witnesses. Yes, my lord. In a closed court like this without a jury, the judge is the only person whose opinion matters. I have to break down this testimony. Somehow. I mean... Whoops, I wanted to look at... Never mind. I wanted to look at people. Okay.
Hold it!
So press everything. Oh, we know nothing about these people. Okay. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Anyway. When you say they, who do you mean exactly? Inspector Gregson and the defendant, Lord Van Zeeks? I suppose so. Like Zuz don't know the names of the Lion Mighty. But I'll tell you one thing. It was an old Reaper that went last. That's for sure and certain. Just behind Inspector Gregson. Did they arrive at the same time as each other? No, not at all. The first fellow might have gone inside a good 15 minutes before we heard the gunshot. The victim arrived 15 minutes before? Are you sure about that? Am I sure? Am I sure? Doesn't seem likely that I have forgotten a fellow with bright red hair like that, does it? Yeah, his hair really were red, weren't it? Redder than my flaming fireworks, even. That fiery red mob still burned on the inside of my eyelids in this. Wait a minute, you're saying the man was a redhead? Weren't you listening, chum? He was a redhead. And he had a big trunk with him as well. He had a big trunk with him? What? But Inspector Gregson's hair isn't red. Not by any stretch of the imagination. It seems likely that the person you saw wasn't in fact Inspector Gregson at all. Some other third party. No, I hate to bring it to you. But the witnesses are correct. What? And just have a look at this photograph of the victim taken at the scene. Ah, we haven't seen a photograph of the victim yet. Yes, that's Inspector Gregson, all right. And a red hairpiece. Of course, we saw one on the floor when we investigated the scene, didn't we? I still refuse to believe that Inspector Gregson wore a hairpiece, though. So then why on earth would he have been wearing something like that? Investigating the Red-Headed League, but what to what extent? The color does seem to suit the man, one might say. Photograph will be submitted as evidence, please, City Council. Let's see what else is in that picture. His body appears to be tightly curled up, and there's a red hair piece on his head. And what became of the trunk that the red-headed victim was supposedly carrying? Yeah. Confused about that, too. Wait a second. I don't know whether it's a memory or a thought, so I'm not going to share it. But I have a thought. I was informed that the trunk was found at the scene. So it just disappeared. What, you expect us to be watching the building every second, do you? We definitely saw him in the dock going in, though. No question about that. So Gregson went in, and then 15 minutes later, the Reaper went in. It was less than a minute after the Reaper had got inside that we all heard a big bang. Okay, so...
Hold it!
By which presumably you mean the gunshot. I saw these little things, don't I? How would I know what a gunshot sounds like? But I've always thought it probably sounds a bit... like this, doesn't it? And you say you heard the noise almost as soon as you saw the defendant enter the building? That's right. It was almost straight away. Bang, it went. Just like that. Well, he is the Reaper, isn't he? It's what the French call a fait accompli. The Reaper's around, people are gonna go in the ground. I mean, that's what he does, isn't it? I think we get the message. The Reaper couldn't allow the inspector to live after he discovered his secret hideout. There can be no clearer motive for the crime. Yes. Certainly an eminently credible motive. Great. And at that point, you ran inside, is that correct?
Hold it!
So when Gossip ran to see what had happened, did you go too? Well, yeah, I'm a bit hampered, you see. All the signs are that I can't move very well. You were way behind, presumably, with that sandwich board around your neck and that big sign in your hand. What great burdens you bear. Pardon me for asking, Mr. Sandwich, but is it possible you and I have met before? I'm not anybody, me. The signs are what make me who I am now. I signed, therefore I am. So you weren't employed as an omnibus driver just under a year ago, then? I might be mistaken, but I believe his trembling has intensified, Mr. Narada. Yes, I agree. He's clearly been through a lot. Turn down King Henry Street and Black Widower's Arms is just there. Oh dear, you've made him hide behind a sign. Life is full of surprises.
Hold it!
That much Ramses has told us. So then you were the first person to arrive on the scene, is that right? That I was! Kicked the door open like a professional, I did, and yelled out, "What's going off here?" Lord Van Zeeks claims all he heard was a man scream, though. And was it dark inside the room? No, not at all. There were candles burning on the wall. Really? There's a fella collapsed on the floor. Just between us is the first thing I noticed when I got inside. I see. Even though Lord Van Zeeks claims to not have seen any such lights on the wall. The next thing I noticed was someone standing right beside the body. accused. Barrick Renzies. I've completely lost his voice, by the way. I am so sorry. That's right, the pale-faced Reaper himself. I was a little shocked, I won't deny it. I'm no lily-liver coward. I stood my ground and gave the Reaper a cold, hard stare myself. Something to add?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to add, Mr. Sandwich? There's really nothing to me. Empty in the head I am. Just 2 slices, no middle. So I don't know what you could want with me. I think maybe you just remembered something? Having heard Mr. Gossip's last statement, I mean. What I think is, we're all nothings, really. We tried to dress ourselves up as something else, but at the end of the day, we're all just street sellers. That's enough out of you, Sandwich. Keep your trap shut now. Unless you want us to make you into a real sandwich. When he saw the Reaper, he fell clean over on his backside. That's it. Oh, you rotten beggar. I told you to keep that secret. He screamed, he did. Screamed and scrambled off on all fours. That's what I wanted to say. Mr. Gossip, is this true? The floor was dead slippery, that's why. Planted my hand in a filthy pool of blood, didn't I? Yuck. A pool of blood? But listen here. Even when I was sprawled on the floor, I still kept giving that Reaper a cold, hard stare. And still don't you forget it. Let's go back a little. Did you say you got blood on your hand? I did, I happened to be the best of us at the time, done it? So I was scared, so I slipped over. We can keep it between us, can't we? No, Mr. Gossip. I'm going to have to ask you to add that information to your formal testimony. Oh, if I must. There's a ... because he's seen the blood stain too. Is the problem here that he didn't wipe it off on the floor?
Hold it!
You wiped your hand on the floor. Well, who wants blood on his hand, eh? Horrible stuff. And they might have thought I'd done it. No time. And you didn't think that might be a problem. Does it really matter I left a few grubby handprints on the floor? They'll get cleaned up in the end, won't they? Don't make such a fuss. That's a message from all of us. There's something wrong, Counsel. No, my lord. I didn't remember anything in the report about a bloody handprint on the floor. That's all. Don't come at me with all that. You can't imitate me. I know what I did. I wiped it off on the floor. The blood. I wonder, could that be what happened? Mr. Naruhodo, I don't have all the answers yet, but I think we may have just uncovered a vital clue. Shall we?
Objection!
So you wiped off the blood from your hand on the floor of the room. Are you quite sure about that? What else do you expect him to have done, eh? Does it really matter?
Objection!
The police found no such handprint on the floor during their investigations. What exactly?
Objection!
That's certain. If you listen, you'll find out, Prosecutor Sidney. Certainly there was no bloody handprint found on the floor. What are you trying to say? There was a handprint in blood left very clearly at the scene. On the back of this notice board. Yes, indeed. Indisputably, a handprint in the distinctive color of blood. You're dead right. That's my right hand. I'd know it anywhere.
Objection!
The witness very definitively testified that he wiped his hand on the floor. Any handprints in the back of the board are irrelevant.
Objection!
Not if the board itself had fallen over onto the floor. In that case, it's quite possible for the witness's handprint to have ended up there. Just look at the floor plan of the room. The notice board was in the opposite corner of the room than the victim in an upright position. Even if it had somehow been toppled and was lying on the floor at the time, it would have been a considerable distance from the body. I fell over when I came across the body, so I was basically right next to the corpse, not on the other side of the room. In other words, the defense's assertion is contradictory. Yes, it is. There's a very definite contradiction here for which there must be a reason. I take it that you've formulated a proper hypothesis, counsel. Regarding this apparent discrepancy between the witness's account and the handprint found at the scene. I have, my lord. Have I? Either the board moved or they're giving false testimony. The board had to have moved, right? Is that what I'm trying to... Because again, we were talking about the gun being found here, right? But I don't think it's false testimony because they didn't say anything that's significantly different or that would make a significance with the difference. So I think the board would have been moved. I think that's the thing. The real contradiction here is the handprint itself, not where it was found. As the court can see, it's upside down. Gracious, so it is. If the witness had put his hand against the board, the fingers should be pointing upwards. What does that tell us? It tells of one simple fact. When this handprint was made, the board must have been lying on the floor, as I previously suggested. Which means that after the incident, it must have been moved. What?
Objection!
After the witnesses saw it. After the Reaper was arrested? You're claiming that somebody moved the notice board after the shooting. Then tell the court who. I don't know that yet. But the point is, when you consider all the testimony we've heard so far, we can now be very clear on one point. And that would be the position of the notice board at the time of the incident, my lord. So, counsel, I must ask you to clarify your assertion for the court. At the time of the incident, where do you maintain the notice board was situated? It would have been near the pool of blood, right? It would have been around here. Maybe it was covering the body?
Take that!
This is the only possible location. Immediately adjacent to the doorway. If the court would think back to the testimony given by the defendant earlier, he said that when he entered the room, it was dark, and he couldn't see the body. Bayek! If the notice board had been here, the body would have been completely hidden from view. And the light from the candles would have been blocked, making the room appear darker.
Objection!
But the accused also claims that the victim's body simply appeared before him. And that's true. Or, in his precise words, I don't know about calling it a scream, but he was talking about me and no mistake. Because it was me who kicked the door open. If you look again at the floor plan, consider what would happen if the door to the room was thrown open with force. That can't. The door struck the notice board, knocking it over, and making the victim's body visible. Good gracious! My client has told nothing but the truth. He has simply described what he saw. Order, order. Counsel, how has this not come to light before now? After the incident, somebody must have righted the board and moved it into the position where the police, myself, and my colleague saw it when investigating the room. Witness, what do you have to say for yourself? What? Me, my lord? You and your fellows were at the scene before anybody else. It goes without saying that you must know something about the position of the notice board. The witnesses in the stand will testify again. You will each explain exactly what you did upon arriving at the scene of the crime. Stop looking over your glasses at me. I get the message. I don't know anything about that there notice board. I just put my hand on it, that's all. Well, don't look at me. I haven't got a clue about it. I was doing business with some second years at the time. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. Just assigned to the crossroads of life. It was a Reaper, I bet. He got a face that screams bored. What does that even mean? I can't see how this changes anything. Anyway, the detective still died when we heard the gunshot. So none of you can elaborate further. Died when they heard the gunshot, but the time of death is not on this paper. It's just blank. It doesn't say the time of death. So none of you can elaborate further. Shaken by the crime they witnessed, and with only the light of a few candles and an oil lamp by which to see, we can't expect these witnesses to be able to give a more precise account of what happened. And yet you got on Van Zieks for all of that. That's right, yeah. And don't pay to expect too much. Don't pay to expect too much. It's man's endless quest for knowledge that's just destroying the world. That's what I think. Do you, really? In any case, as this testimony shows, even if the notice board was moved by somebody following the incident, it makes no difference. Yes, it does. Something else was done. Something was done to make the crime scene, to disturb the crime scene. So, yeah, the accused was the only one at the scene when that shot rang out. But the crime scene was disturbed. Did I read that? When the gunshot rang out, the accused was the only one at the scene. In short, the only person who could have possibly committed this crime was Barrett Van Zieks. None of this wrangling over the board changes that simple fact. Quite so, quite so. Quite not. Does the defense still wish to cross-examine the witnesses despite the circumstances? Yes! Most certainly, my lord. Very well. Then you may proceed, counsel. He looks terrible. He looks so terrified.
Hold it!
I'm continuing the press everything thing. So you admit that So you admit that it was the board you wiped your bloody hand on. Admit it, what's to admit? It's there plain as day for all to see. A smashing print in my right hand. Perhaps you wanted to hide that handprint? So you righted the notice board and pushed it onto the corner, did you? Nah, imagine the weight of that great lump. Do I look like a powerful and well-nurtured man? Well, did you see anybody else moving the board? I've got nerves of steel, I can tell you, but even I have my limits. There was a body on the floor, and the Grim Reaper himself standing over it. And there was precious little light inside either. My bottom lip was all a-quiver. My bottom lip was stung by a bee and had a terrible allergic reaction. In other words, this witness is unable to give definitive testimony on that point. Yes, you can see. So she was selling... Sorry, let me continue with that.
Hold it!
When you say you were doing business with them, you mean you were selling them fireworks? Yeah, what else? That's the prior story. There's the Priori School just around the corner, see? Those cheeky little so-and-sos have got a plan to blow their school to Kingdom Come. So I've been telling on them, letting their teachers know what they're up to. Oh, you have? Yeah, I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt. So I let the school know if the kids are playing with dodgy toys. Then, praise the Lord, the teachers take all the fireworks off them. And then, praise the Lord again, the kids all come back to me by floor. Everyone's happy, see? What a racket. Of course, and sometimes the teacher give me a little bonus, thank me for letting them know. It's a busy old life selling explosives. Venus is a powerful goddess indeed. Well, telling barefaced lies is kind of a thing, really, if I'm so good at it.
Excuse me.
You have a lot to say about people over here. Something wrong, Mr. Sandwich? I mean, she just said that she tells lies all the time, so are we really going to trust her? If I said I was going to just leave it at that, would that be the end of it? No. Did Miss Venus' statement just now bring something to mind, perhaps? Philosophical thoughts. Deep philosophical thoughts. Let's say there's a great liar. Like a great liar said, without batting an eye, telling barefaced lies is kind of my thing. I'm ever so good at it. Would those words first be a lie too, or the truth? In which case, she's not a liar. Oh, it's a paradox, that one. Don't you think? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But it seems to me you're suggesting that Miss Venus has been lying, are you? What are you on about, old man? Trying to cause trouble, are you? Keep on like that. And I'll wrap your whole body in firecrackers to set them off. I'll give you something to tremble about. You've startlingly disturbing mind behind that sweet little innocent face, young lady. So Miss Venus has lied in her testimony. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Sandwich? Well, means I'll be burning for the rest of my days, so be it. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Can you elaborate, please, sir? Oh, Blabbermouth here headed for the room where the gunshots seemed to come from. But there was someone else who crept up the stairs behind him, too. That's right, that rotten liar over there. Do you mean to say that you didn't in fact betake yourself to the scene of the crime after all? What'd I tell you, eh? Said it was good telling barefaced lies, didn't I? Yes, you mentioned it. Well, that revelation rocked the whole courtroom, didn't it? Who knew firecrackers packed such a punch? So you didn't finish visit the scene of the crime, did you? Good grief. Well, now you come to mention it. I suppose perhaps I do clearly remember climbing the stairs to the room, yeah? Either you clearly remember it or you don't. Well, I shall consider a fitting punishment for this perjurous act later. For the time being, you will immediately amend your testimony to reflect the truth. Oh, yes, my lord, of course.
Hold it!
You make a habit of lying, do you, Miss Venus? Well, I suppose so. I don't really know, to be fair. If you want my advice, though, I take everything I say with a big pinch of salt. Alright, but you did in fact go to the room where the victim was killed in the day in question, did you not? Oh, please, as if I would. I can't think of anything more terrifying. The truth, please. Well, alright, here's a bit then. I mean, a girl my age is curious about stuff, you know? Did you touch anything at the scene? Oh, please, as if I would. I mean, there's a dead body on the floor. The truth, please. Oh, alright, just a bit then. I had to look and see if there's anything I could sell. So, I did get the place a once-over, but nothing to write home again about. Alright, now, I hesitate to ask, but you didn't move the notice board by any chance, did you? Oh, please, as if I would touch anything like that. Just a few bits of loose change is all I had. The truth, please. Well, alright then. I thought there might be something worth having under it. So I blasted the flippin' thing. Sorry, flipped the blasted thing. You're telling us that you did move that board? I think that did slip out, didn't it? You daft Barma. Barmpop? What? What did he say? Barmpot? I don't believe it. The girl doesn't think. So, did you find anything then? Something that you might have taken, perhaps, to sell? Oh, please, I should be so lucky. Am I imagining the truth now? I might have found this old pocket watch under the noseboard, I suppose. But a bit of junk like this can't be worth much, if you ask. Ah! So it was you, was it? You're the one that took it. Gina? Young lady, may I remind you where you are? That watch there. It was a present to Inspector Gregson from the yard for a big case he solved 10 years ago. The professor case, no doubt. The boss used to wind up every evening without fail while he was waiting for the grub to come to the pub. You see. I swiped it off him once and blimey, he was upset. He gave me a right earful. Said he hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years, polishing it and winding it. It meant the world to him, that watch did. Possibly not the best thing to go diving for, then. It's not all that, though. I took it to Jabez that night to ask how much it was worth, but the old dealer wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't give me a penny for it. Said it wasn't working. Knocked about and worthless, he called it. Ugh. I knew I should have lifted it. That watch must be submitted as evidence at once. Please, just as long as you promise to give it back when we're done. It's not yours. Not a chance. I'll swipe it from you if you try to get your grubby mitts on it again. That's enough. Hand the watch to the bailiff forthwith. Now, children. Watch your manners. Oh, good lord. The glass appears to be broken. More than likely, it shattered when the inspector was shot. Sorry, I just hit my microphone with my Joy-Con. It doesn't take any more either. Which is why Jabez didn't want it. What a waste, eh? Now we can see the exact time he was killed. Yes, indeed. It appears to have stopped at the hour of 5. Exactly when the gunshot was heard then. Which supports the prosecution's claim, of course. Well, it would appear that the mystery of the moving notice board has been solved at least. Wait a second. There's a tiny little keyhole here. That looks so familiar. Can you see? Oh, yes, that's probably for the winder used to wind up the mechanism. It's a little unusual, don't you think? Yes, you need the right key to wind it, I imagine. I never feel like I've seen something a bit like a key that's about the right size to fit this hole. It'd be wonderful if we had a key. Let's check carefully for what we've already found. Can I... There's a tiny little stub sticking out the small hole here. Look, I suppose there must have been a little knob or something on that for setting the time. In that case, seeing as now the inspector took great care of this watch, probably broke when the incident occurred. Of course. Which could mean that there's a small part of the watch at the scene. Manhandled, twisted for fun. There's 4. No. Susato, do you think perhaps this key could be the key for Inspector Harrington's watch? There we go. Yes, it could be. Let's try it at once. There's not a moment to lose. I knew it. Perfect fit. And look, the inspector's watch has started going again. So it's obviously not just been wound up. Just not been wound up. That's all. What is it, Mr. Sato? Well, if the watch isn't exactly broken after all, I'm feeling it could have profound implications. Just a thought now. Perhaps I better start thinking deeply too. Okay. And as predicted, it has very little bearing on the case. Ugh. Now then, continue with the cross-examination, please, counsel. Right. What was going on here? It's bystander. The crossroads of life. Face that screams bored. Just still died when we heard the gunshot. Continue to press everything. But you did go to see what had happened in the room, didn't you? Fresno Street is my whole world. That's all I know, and I know all of it. I have to make my business to mow, and if I want to hold my sign up high. So you did go see what had happened. It's not the destination that's important, it's how you get there, isn't it? Did you notice the notice board in the room? If you think about it, we're both the same species, aren't we? Both different members of the Saiyan family. So it's that I might have tried to trip it up since Frau ran it. Someone really needs to tell you that you're Homo sapiens, not Homo simians. Does that mean you didn't notice the board? I can only repeat what I said before. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander. Me, Chicho has to sign the Crossroads of Life. In which case, just who was responsible for moving the notice board? Well, we know. We've already established that.
Hold it!
Hold on a second. What exactly do you mean by that? Oh, come on now. Don't tell us you've not noticed. It looks like he hates everything in the world, that fella. But not nose boards. They're the one things he likes. You see it in his eyes. I can say I have I'll tell you one thing for free, though. Never took my eyes off the man on the floor or off the Reaper, not for a second. Sorry. Well, I was that scared I couldn't. You never know what a fiend like that might do if you look away, do you? If you didn't take your eyes off the defendant, you should be able to confirm categorically whether or not he was the one who moved the sign. Moved the notice board. Aye, that I can. The Reaper did nothing of the sort. I swear to that. Couldn't have missed it. If he'd heaved the thing upright again and dragged it in the corner. Right, glad we cleared that up. What happened to the face that screams bored? I feel your pain, Kazuma.
Hold it!
It was 5 o'clock in the afternoon that you all heard the loud bang, wasn't it? Maybe the notice board fell over, maybe it didn't. Maybe I fell over him, and maybe I didn't. The Reaper's fate's sealed either way because of the gunshot we all heard. So your fate's sealed too. My fate? That's right. Defense fate is fated to lose. And the prosecution to win. In other words, it all hinges on that single gunshot. So just find some problem with that part of their story. It may be possible to change all their fates. Of course, none of that changed the fact that I heard what I heard, does it? Not much to go on. As you pointed out, Mr. Naruto, there's no question that the nose board was moved. Someone must have done it. We already know. You certainly know how it is. There's nothing really, just a little quirky, with not-so-little implications. Did you know? Everything in the world, apart from the truth, is a big fat lie. If you believe that, of course. I'm lost. As am I. The desecration of the truth is very rather disturbing. I think perhaps we should move on to the next one. Okay. Are we trying to prove that he didn't die when the gunshot went off? Glass over his hand, what a shame the inspector clearly looked after it so carefully. Mr. Shelm's not repair it. It's very deft things like this he's going around. I can only remember he's a great detective, not a non-man. Job man. Okay, we've done all of this. Anything else we want to investigate on this? So, it shouldn't be, are we trying to argue that it shouldn't be stopped at 5 o'clock because it is still working and it's not actually broken? So if it, so he wouldn't have died at 5 o'clock? He would have died sooner?
Objection!
Is that what we're arguing here? I'm afraid that's not necessarily the case. Oh. At the scene, we found this key to the winder of the inspector's pocket watch. The key. And having wound the pocket watch, we discovered that it in fact still works. You see, the watch didn't stop because it was broken at all. Yeah, okay. And that fact completely undermines one of the most fundamental premises on which this entire case has been built. What? Oh, order! The council. The watch was stopped at almost exactly 5 o'clock. Yeah, which is just when we heard the gunshot. It is exactly the hour. The time that was showing on the watch tells us nothing other than when it wound down. It's merely a coincidence that it happened to be at 5 o'clock.
Objection!
Even if that's true, the 3 witnesses here all heard the gunshot at 5 o'clock. So that's obviously when the crime was committed.
Objection!
No, that doesn't hold. Why not? Recall what Inspector Lestrade said, only moments ago. victim was in the habit of winding his watch once a day, in the evening. We can reasonably assume, therefore, that he wound the timepiece on the evening before he died as well. Yes, that would be entirely reasonable. But if that's the case, you wouldn't expect the watch to have completely wound down by 5 o'clock the following day. How do you explain it then? In summary, the evening before the day of the incident when the gunshot rang out in that room, the inspector was already unable to wind his watch. You can't mean. What would stop a man winding his watch if he'd been in the habit of winding it every single evening for 10 years? The obvious answer is that he was already dead. Order! Counsel, that's the most extraordinary claim.
Objection!
Extraordinary isn't the word, it's absurd. You claim he was already dead the night before. Do you really think that Scotland Yard's coroner would have overlooked something like that? On that subject, there is something rather surprising. There's actually an omission in the coroner's report. The time of death is not noted. That's right. Wait a minute, you're forgetting my legs went under me when I kicked the door in. What do you mean? Like I said, planted my hand in a dirty great puddle of blood. Yes, so the victim's blood hadn't dried, it was fresh. He catches on fast, doesn't he?
Objection!
But that blood could be explained in any number of ways. It could have been put there afterwards. Some fresh blood could have been poured over the victim's body.
Objection!
Does my learned friend think that fresh blood is available on every street corner? You're starting to sound like Van Zeeks. Well, it needn't necessarily have been human blood, of course. We've been told previously that Scotland Yard has no way to identify blood as human. The problem is currently being researched. At present, you are correct. It is beyond our abilities. So then a chicken's blood could have been used, for example. It's certainly a possibility that it wasn't the inspector's blood at all.
Objection!
But the gunshot was heard at 5 o'clock that afternoon. That's beyond question. Is it, though? What? Given that the time of death of the victim has already been called into question, it isn't beyond the realms of possibility that what these witnesses heard wasn't a gunshot at all. Oh, please, what are you trying to say? As I know what we heard, and this was a loud bang that came from that there room. Now, he listened to me, a street seller's ears are his livelihood. Oh, I don't doubt your ears, sir, but all you can state with certainty is that you heard a noise. Explain yourself then, counsel. A noise that sounds like gunshot could have been made... Oh, yay, I could use this.
Take that!
Something like this. The culprit could have set off one of these to fake a gunshot. Gracious! The very fireworks that are sold by the witness. Now hold on a minute. You saying I did it? My pretty little firecrackers only make a little pop anyway. See? Not 100 of them together. The Venus special that you sell for 600 pennies sounds like this. As the court can now attest, it sounds very much like a gunshot, in fact. I'm trying to suggest that somebody set one of those fireworks off at the scene. I'm suggesting that somebody that somebody knew the defendant was in the room at 5 that day, and sought to implicate him by creating a sound like a gunshot for those peddlers on Fresno Street to hear.
Objection!
But even the accused himself has testified that he saw no one else in the room at the time. Whether it was a gun or a firecracker, the only person present to cause that bang was Barrick Van Zeeks. One whiff of a match and firecrackers go pop. See? That's why people like them. I fear for your fingers, young lady.
Objection!
Recently, during my time here in Britain, I've learned of a very useful invention indeed. Something called, a time bomb. Good heavens, a bomb? Yes, a device that allows you to blow up whatever you like, whenever you like. Mr. Naruto, I worry that your unfortunate phrasing there may yet lead to another international incident. No, wait. It's the whenever you like part that's important. A timed device. Yes, exactly. A timed device. Something of that nature could have been planted at the scene. A device that was able to produce the sound of gunshot long after the culprit had left. Extravagant claim will have been substantiated with evidence, counsel. What proof do you have to suggest in any way that a timed device was employed to create the gunshot sound? What? Oh, wait. What if... What if it's this? Like if the firecrackers was in one of the candles or something.
Take that!
As the court has already discussed, the tip of one of the candles in this candelabrum has been blown off. Indeed, because it was struck by the bullets, which presumably passed to the victim. I don't think that's possible, my lord. Not possible. Why? Because of the scorching. I was wondering about that too, with all the talk of the point blank. I'm like, why is it scorched, though? There are gunpowder scorch marks clearly visible on the broken candle. There are, goodness, yes. But is it not the case that there was also scorching on the victim around the bullet entry room? That's right, it was. But as we heard earlier, scorching like that only occurs when the target is at very close range, a matter of centimeters from the gun. Which means the scorching on the candle can't possibly be the result of gunshot. You're suggesting it came from the fireworks. How can that be, eh? The fact that there's such visible scorching on the candle suggests that the fireworks must have been right next to it when they exploded. Or to put it in another way, the candle and the firecrackers were joined together. The culprit somehow attached the firecrackers at a point partway down the candle. After the killer had left the scene, the candle slowly burnt down along with the other two. Until eventually it ignited the fuse of the firecrackers, generating a loud bang. And that is how these three witnesses came to believe they'd heard a gunshot at 5 o'clock. Well, what a plot. And this implies the victim could have died earlier than we had been led to believe. The previous day, even. Now, just hold your horses. All of us here saw the victim go into the building, remember? I couldn't forget that flame-colored hair even if I wanted to. The person you saw entering the building wasn't the victim at all. Consider this. Ah! Obviously, anybody can wear a wig. And if that's the defining feature, then it could have not been him. So the person these witnesses saw entering the building 15 minutes before the incident occurred could easily have been someone else entirely wearing the red hairpiece. Someone else? Did you mean to say? It was the same person who contrived the firecracker trick. In other words, Inspector Gregson's killer. Oh, very impressive, Ryusuke Naruhodo. Kazuma, I'm really quite amazed you come this far. But after all, wasn't I the one who told you that you had all the makings of a great defense lawyer? I also noted the lack of a time of death on this report to start the mission. But as far as I'm concerned, this whole country's justice system leaves a lot to be desired. Order, order. Prosecutor Sophie, what on earth do you mean by that statement? I hear that many of the leading members of Britain's judiciary are present to observe this trial today. So we cannot allow even the slightest doubt to be overlooked. The defense's assertion about the time of death based on the victim's stopwatch is just a conjecture. But, while the possibility exists that my learned friend may be correct, we have a duty to explore it. Well, certainly. I would agree with you. And what immediately comes to mind is, of course, what was Inspector Gregson doing, and where did he go on the day before the incident? Do you know? The inspector always carried out his investigative work alone. His movements were treated as confidential within Scotland Yard. Even within the Yard. However, considering the evidence we've been presented with so far, I'd say it's fairly apparent what case the man was pursuing, wouldn't you, my learned friend? I do have a feeling about what case he might have been investigating. Yes, I agree. Surely. My lord, the defense believes it can explain to the court the case that was being investigated by Inspector Gregson at the time of his death. Very well, counsel. Present your argument to the court. What evidence is suggestive of the case being investigated by the inspector on the day prior to the incident? It had to be the red-headed league, right? That whole thing. What evidence is suggestive of the case? The red hairpiece itself, right? Because I don't think... Do I have... I never know whether it wants one or the other. Considering the evidence we've been presented with so far, it's apparent what kind of case the man was pursuing. What evidence is suggestive of the case being investigated by the inspector the day prior to the incident? If it's not this, it's the newspaper clipping, but this is the one that connects it to Gregson.
Take that!
I believe this red hairpiece points to the answer. We might assume it was part of the disguise used to carry out an undercover investigation. Surely not. Such a brightly colored hairpiece would only serve to make the inspector more noticeable. Yes, that's quite true. It would definitely have made him stand out in a crowd. Except, that is, in a crowd of gentlemen from the Red-Headed League. The Red-Headed League? I have a feeling it could have presented either of those evidences. So, you already worked it out. What on earth is all this about? Is there such an extraordinary league of gentlemen? The Red-Headed League is currently under investigation for a grand deception. A deception of what nature, counsel? They've been targeting red-headed men across all London and tricking them out of small sums of money. 2 men were arrested for the misdemeanor only yesterday, in fact. My lord, the defense calls for those 2 men to be summoned at once. 2 redheads? Inspector Gregson clearly infiltrated the Red-Headed League using this hairpiece, so it's very likely that he had direct contact with these criminals. And it's quite possible that such contact led to more serious events. I concur that we cannot in good conscience leave this new avenue unexplored. Well done, Mr. Naruto! Well, it's another possible line of inquiry for us, at least. The prosecution will make immediate arrangements for charged men to appear and bring these 2 Red-Headed League conspirators before the prosecutor so. And once, my lord. Very good. We will have a 30-minute recess. Court is adjourned. Whew. And so the case continues, and the mystery ever widens. So, Okay. I remember this room. I remember nothing else, man. I remember nothing else. So what? I have an idea though. And again, like I said, I don't know whether it is an idea sprung from a memory or like if I would have naturally come up with that idea. I'm not sure. Because it is something that I could, you could think of. You could think of. I definitely think that you guys could think of it based on what we've seen and what we've heard. But I don't want to say anything. I will say something whenever it's revealed because I'm pretty sure it's true and I'm pretty sure I remember something along those lines. But now we have to just figure out what is going on because I am still very confused of why this is the second to last episode. But we'll continue, I guess. So I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.